I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're diving into the captivating world of Regency Romance with a wonderful author. Her name is Kathleen Bishop, and she's written a book that you just won't want to put down. It is called For the Love of Kitty, a Regency Romance. This enthralling novel follows Lady Katherine Wellmore, or Kitty, as she navigates the treacherous waters of London society and a deadly conspiracy. Join us right now as we explore a tale that is just filled with love, danger, and treason. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Prime 7 Media for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her delightful book. The links are below the interview. Kathleen, great to see you here today on Spotlight. Thank you so much for joining us.
That's fun. That's good. Yeah.
Great to have you on the show. Let me ask you, what inspired you to write for Love of Kitty and set it in the Regency area, in the era rather?
I'd been reading books of that era, and I read one book which upset me because the writer had obviously never been to England, didn't know how England worked at that time. And I said, I can do better than that. And I actually had a dream. And the dream was not very nice, and it wasn't anything to do with the book, but it had a prince and it had a girl in it. And the next day I said, right, we write about a girl who meets a prince, and the story started from there. I don't write my books to order. I don't decide what's going to happen and then write to it. I write a story and it carries on. It's how I feel. I feel the characters tell me where they're going. And that's how I got started.
Yeah,
Very quickly.
I think that gives it a great organic feel, that the characters come to life and they make the journey, the adventure happen. And I think that's a wise way to do it, rather than having an outline of as to how everything will turn out, because it makes it feel more real, because that's how life is. It's kind of uncharted, unplanned, unplotted. Let's talk a little bit about the book itself. Give the folks at home an overview of the story.
Well, in the Georgian period, there was the top echelon of people. They used to call it the top 100. They called it the ton. And all the people there, they had to sort of fit in to a way. Girls especially weren't supposed to do this or that or say this or that. Now, Catherine has never been involved in the ton, because she's lived on her father's estate after her mother died, and she's grown up capable, but not in the ton itself. So when you are brought into society, you actually go and curtsy to the Queen. It's called you're coming out, you'll come out. It's not that long since that the whole thing was stopped. So you go for your come out to London and you're all decked out, but you have to wear white to see the Queen. And so someone starts rumours, but she's not got anyone to deny them for her. And everything starts to go wrong. And then her brother comes along, realizes, and takes her away back home for her 18th birthday. But on her 18th birthday, she has a present, which she isn't pleased with. And it actually is full of gunpowder and blows up, killing her maid and injuring her. And at that point, Catherine's life changes completely. You know, she has to learn to stand on her own feet, because everything seems to go wrong from there. There is a group of people who are using her, we don't find out till later, who are using her to try and bring down the crown, or at least the king itself. And they're using her and saying that he's trying to kill her, therefore he's terrible. And it's got nothing to do with the Prince Regent at all. He knows nothing about it. So she's sent to family to get better from the injuries, because she lands in a topiary bush, which is in her head and her back. She's sent to family, but they have heard all the rumours, and some of them are not very helpful. So she goes back home, where there's another present that got there before her, and it kills her little sister. And she decides she's not going to have any more of her family hurt because they're trying to kill her. So she takes herself away. It's a good bit of organisation she does, I tell you. And she gets herself into Cornwall, and into a house in Cornwall with 2 retainers with her to look after her. But there she meets the local, well, she thinks he's an ordinary lord, sort of a baron or something, but in fact he's an earl. And he takes up her cause.
Wonderful.
And from there it gets better, but it doesn't always get better, because they're still trying to kill her. But as she says to her father, if I am drowning, what can you do apart from get someone or try and help me? If I'm drowning, I will save myself if I can. And that's what she's doing, if you like, saving herself rather than expecting everybody else to save her. But of course, it makes her a very strong woman.
Exactly.
Very strong.
What a great story. Yeah. Adversity does build character. It does make you strong. The introduction of Richard Trevane into the story, the Fifth Earl of Pengarron, is just wonderful. You've got all the elements here of a wonderful film. Have you thought about that at all? Have you ever thought about, hopefully Hollywood or someone in London picks it up and wants to turn it into a something for the cinema?
Well, that's up to them. It's got nothing to do with me.
Exactly.
I'm not in the position to do anything.
Exactly. But it must be like part of the dream, though, that somebody looks at this book and says, hey, I'd love to turn it into a film. I think it would be great.
If they did, they did. But if they did, I've got another 10 like it waiting.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about your writing career, about when you started writing in your books.
It was about 11 years ago. I have a disabled husband, so I can't go out. I couldn't do a great deal. And as I say, I read a great deal, and I had this feeling. So I sat down and I wrote, and I actually picked people that are in Kitty actually come in other books as well. Because it's all set around 1800 to 1815, 16, after the Napoleonic Wars. There was a lot of missing men after the Napoleonic War, so the women were desperate to find a husband, especially one with rank and money, because so many of them were killed fighting in France. So it became very difficult for the men that did come back, because they were being headhunted by mothers who were desperate to marry their daughters off.
Amazing. So
it's a whole different era of how people behaved.
Absolutely. So you've created a world that revolves around certain characters that are seen in a series of 10 different novels.
Mm,
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Well, I'm sure they're all as delightful and beautifully written as this one. It is called For Love of Kitty, a Regency
Kitty.
romance. It is an enthralling novel that follows Lady Katherine Wellmore, or Kitty, as she navigates the treacherous waters of London society and a deadly conspiracy. The book is a tale that is just filled with love, danger, and treason. It's amazing. It's well written. Hollywood, if you're listening, turn this into a film. It would make a great one. And Kathleen has 10 in total to turn into movies or just to enjoy. Links are below this interview to the folks at home. Kathleen, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
That's fine. Lovely. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate your time. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.